near the conclusion of Parshat Terumah, we learn about the construction of the Mizbeach Ketoret, the copper altar, which was the external altar outside of the Holy of Holies, which was used to for the standard daily offerings of animal sacrifice, wine, grain offering, and we learn about how it was constructed. And the final verse of its construction, or what it's supposed to look like, this is in Exodus chapter 27, verse 8, here in Parshat Terumah, describes it as follows: Nevuv luchot ta'aseh oto. The boards it is made of should be hollow. What does this mean? This hollow boards, you should make it. Well, Rashi and the Rashbam, the Sforno and others, these classic commentators, all agree that what it means is that there's nothing inside the altar. The altar is placed on the grounds, and it seems to be, according to these commentators, that earth, dirt, soil would then be brought in, and a pile would be made within the altar, and the sacrifices and the fire would be placed on that mound. But the construction itself, which is what we're learning about here in Parshat Terumah, says that there would be no architectural elements within the Mizbeach, within the altar. It would be nevuv, hollow. The Midrash notes that this word, nevuv, hollow, is somewhat irregular, and as such connects it to another place in Tanakh where the word nevuv comes up. So let's read the Midrash. Amarav Avdimi Daman Haifa, says Rabbi Avdimi from Haifa, Kodem sheyochal Adam v'yishteh yesh lo shnei levavot. Before a person eats and drinks, they have two hearts. We'll explain what that means. Shene'emar, and it quotes now from a verse in Job, chapter 11. Ish navuv yilavev, which means a person, an empty person, a hollow person, will grow heart, will take heart. Uchtiv, and the Midrash continues, and it is written in our Parsha, in Parshat Terumah, nevuv luchot, the board should be hollow. And the Midrash notes, umitargaminan, the Aramaic translation of our verse in Parshat Terumah translates that word nevuv as chalil, empty space, which is why we call a flute a chalil, or outer space in modern Hebrew is the chalil as well. It's empty space. So the Midrash, which is found in tractate Bava Batra, Daf Yud Bet Amud Bet, compares or juxtaposes these two verses, which both have the phrase nevuv. A person, ish navuv yilavev, an empty person, will take heart, versus our Parshat Terumah, nevuv luchot, the boards are hollow internally. And then you add the Aramaic translation that it means chalil. So the main takeaway from this midrash is that a person, before they eat and drink, are of two hearts. And what does that mean? Let's read the Torah Temimah. Our man with a plan who will explain to us this midrash. So first he looks and says, what does it mean to say that before you eat and drink, you're of two, yesh lo shnei levavot, of two hearts? Ratzon, says the Torah Temimah, Ratzon lamar, ein da'ato shlema. A person's thinking is not peaceful, whole. Uke'ilu yesh lo shtei deot, he has two opinions. Shtei levavot, two hearts, is like we would say in English, to be of two minds, two ideas, two opinions. Ubina atzura belev v'have ki'ilu yesh lo shnei levavot. And because in rabbinic understanding, the bina, understanding, resides in the heart, saying, when it says in Job that you have two hearts, it's like you're of two minds, two opinions. So, and then he's going to now explain more broadly how the Midrash learns out this opinion from the juxtaposition of the verse in Job and our verse in Terumah. Ratzon lomar, Ratzon lamar atze shitim, the acacia wood, mikol tzad ubeemtza halal. So the verse in Terumah means that the acacia wood walls of the altar were on all four sides, but there was nothing in the middle, as we explained. Perush apasuk ish navuv keshehu chalul. So when the verse using that same understanding of what it means to be navuv, hollow, by a person, that would mean that person is empty below keres maleya. When they're hungry, who is an empty person? A hungry person. Yilavev, and so that person, Yilavev, was the end of the verse in Job. Hu bal kama levavot, someone who has multiple hearts. Habet hanosef b'milat Yilavev, more al ribui levavot. So the Torah Temimah explains that the midrash, its main innovation and insight is noting that the word Yilavev, who they will be of multiple hearts, is indicated by the second bet. The word lev, lamed bet, has one bet. But the verse here in Job says Yilavev. And the Torah Temimah is saying this is sort of a play on where the midrash is playing on the second bet. And a second bet is like a second heart, which is being read as being of two minds. So a person who doesn't have food, they're empty, and they are Yilavev. They have a second heart. But if they were to not be empty, meaning they were not to be hungry, they would no longer be of two hearts, of two minds. That would settle their minds and maybe make them more decisive. So that's what the midrash is doing according to the Torah Temimah, based on our verse in Parsha Terumah about the building of the tabernacle. It's a beautiful how it traces this word navuv and transposes it to being this sort of wisdom proverb about how eating and drinking can settle our mind and maybe even make us more decisive. Now, is that true? Is it true that when you are satiated, it's easier for you to make decisions? Could be, though it could also be maybe the opposite, that really over history, it's been many hungry people who have decided to take certain maybe rash actions or decided to do things to ameliorate their hunger, and they couldn't wait to eat to make a more sober, rational decision. Could be. Very interesting regardless, this midrash in Masechet Bava Kama, based on the verse in Job and our verse here in Parsha Terumah. Always a pleasure learning with you. More next week.